Super Bus Nova.
What up, man?
How's it hanging?
Man, like it's been a long weekend. But it's all good. How you been?
Yeah, no, we good. We good at
Yeah.
the Hip Hop Galaxy. Should I call you Dylan?
Nah, you know what the funny part is? Like, if I hear anybody call me Dylan, I'm
Yeah.
already just like, yo, where do you know me from? Like, because it's only people like that I grew up with that call me that. Funny enough, like,
Yeah,
it's weird. More people call me Super Boss Nova than they do Blayze now.
for real.
Yeah.
So how do you
This is
introduce
junk.
yourself? Because a lot of rappers, they don't feel like they want to introduce themselves as their rapper names because they feel like that's not them. They
Yeah.
want to be known as something else. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, look, if it's a interview scenario, then yeah, it's either Blayze or Super Boss Nova or whatever.
Yeah.
But like in a personal capacity, like if I meet somebody on a social level, like
Yeah.
I don't know, it depends, I suppose. If it's like family, friends or something like that, then it's like, oh, yeah, Dylan. You know, I'm not gonna be like, yo, Blayze. It's just, yeah, it doesn't work.
Okay. Okay, cool. No, for this part of the interview,
Yeah.
I hope it's cool if we call you Dylan.
Nah, that's
Because
cool.
we want to know Dylan now.
Okay. Nah, that's chill.
So, you know, we asked the streets about you, and the streets kind of came back with some interesting information. You were actually born in Zim.
Yeah, man, I was born in Zim, and then I came to South Africa when I was, well, I didn't come to South Africa. My parents came to South Africa when I was 3. And then I grew up in Rustenburg in the northwest, in Klabani. I moved to Zinjaville, and then, yeah, to town. My parents are still there. My brother's in the UK in Bristol, and I'm in Joburg. But yeah, I was born in Zim, grew up in Rustenburg.
Crazy, crazy. So your parents Zimbabwean or?
No, my parents are both Zimbabwean. My grandmother's South African. She's actually
okay.
from Durban. So yeah,
Okay.
like that's how the whole.
One of Mugabe's people.
Hey man, I can't take account for anything that niggas doing. Yeah. Next question.
Already, okay. Too hard in the kitchen. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know, another thing we learned is that okay, before we go there, can we just talk about, you know, where did you go to high school?
Yeah.
Obviously you mentioned where you're from. So where did you go to high school?
Yeah, I went to high school at Grenville High. I actually shot scenes of that high school in my video for Meant to Be. Like I went back to the high school, and it was pretty dope because like they were really like welcoming about it. You know, they didn't make it stress and admin. So yeah, I went to high school in Grenville High, and then I went to varsity at in Potch. I went to Puck, and then after that, yeah, I joined the corporate world for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to back up, you know, how was Dylan in high school? Were you the guy that was always in a cipher, or you know?
You know, like the funny part is, and people who know me well personally, I'm an introvert.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Wow.
I'm an introvert. Like I'm very like, you know, to myself, whatever the case is. Like I don't really let a lot of people into like a close personal space. Like even to say, yo, come over to my crib. Like there's people I've known for years who've never set foot in my house. Like there's a certain personal space like I'm very particular about, and I suppose it's because of the nature of the industry and the stuff that I've seen. You know, like I'm just like, nah, there's certain things I'll expose, certain things I won't. But like in high school, man, I was a skinny dude. I was like probably the skinniest kid like in school, literally. Like I was, as long as I can remember, I was always a skinny kid. I had bad teeth. I had to get braces. Yeah, my front row teeth like just pushed out because of a bad, stupid sucking lip habit that I actually picked up from my cousin. And then his dad whooped his ass and he stopped, and I carried on. So like, yeah, it didn't pan out. 3 years worth of braces later. I got back to it, and it's actually weird because there was a stage in my life in like that high school, well, yeah, that was primary school when I had braces, was like, you don't see photos of me. I just refused to be in front of photos because I didn't like it. So yeah, it was a weird thing, and I think that's where the introvertedness of me came in. I always was very outspoken in terms of like being witty, being sharp. Like I always had a joke. I always had a comeback. People wouldn't tease me because they were just like, hey, he's gonna say something and it's gonna burn. But I only weighed like 25 kilos, so it was like I had to pick my fights very carefully because I was gonna get thrown around, man. So yeah, I was a skinny kid, but I was very athletic. I did every sport: basketball, cricket, rugby, hockey. I played provincial. I went to national tournaments 8 years in a row. I played provincial.
Humble brags, yeah.
Nah, just like not even humble brags. Just really giving you an insight into who I was. I really love being active, and like with your life in Joburg and this career and that sort of stuff, I'm not as free to be as active as I used to be. Like I work out now in that gym, and that's my thing. And that really kicked in like grade 12. I was like, yo, I'm tired of being skinny.
What happened? Did you get bullied too much? Because you said you had a smart mouth, so I'm sure that rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah, it rubbed people the wrong way, but I ran pretty fast too. So like it worked in my favor. But like, yeah, jokes aside, like I just decided one day I was like, I'm tired of being skinny. I don't like, people perceive you a certain way based on your physical appearance. Yeah. And I was like, shortchange me just because of that. I remember my hockey coach was like, yo, I'd put you on the first team, but you have the skill level, but you're too small. Like you're physically gonna get pushed around, and that's gonna frustrate you. And if you get hurt, I gotta answer to your parents. Type 5. And I was like, so you're gonna undercut me purely based on that? So when it got to grade 12, I was just like, nah, I'm tired of this. So with first year varsity, I literally just sat in the gym, and I was like, I'm gonna eat as much as I can, and I'm in the gym as much as I can. And anybody who ever like thought or overlooked me, like, cool, give me a year, give me 2 years, whatever the case is. Yeah. And I really like, even now I'm a lot smaller than I used to be, but it's manageable now. Like I used to be a lot bigger. Like I struggled to find like cool, fashionable clothes because, you know what I mean? So, but it worked in my favor because being that big as well, people would perceive me to be very aggressive looking, like unapproachable. So a lot of things and dynamics came into it. I was injuries and that sort of stuff. But like, yeah, that was me in high school. I was very, very like outspoken but introverted. Still am to an extent.
Okay. Yeah. And you went to university. I believe you did a BCom marketing.
Yeah, I did a BCom marketing. Okay. In the 3 years I was allocated it, not 5. Okay. There were some dudes that I got there, they were studying.
Yeah.
And I left and they were still there, and I was just like, guys, this is not a joke. Like, yo, your parents are paying fees, dog. People would kill to be in your position. Don't screw around. But like, yeah, so I got my degree at BCom marketing because when I finished high school, I was like, yo, Dad, I want to be in music. I want to be a musician. I want to be an artist. And he was like, have you been drinking the J's fluid? Like, where did this come from? But they always knew, like, I was always into music. I had a scrapbook. I used to like write my lyrics in. I still have it. I used to always be drawing my graffiti, and I was always like, okay, cool.
So wait, when did that start? When did the scrapbook and the sort of graffiti start?
Probably like grade 7.
Grade 7? Okay, that really?
No, wait, I lie. Probably like grade 8, grade 9.
Okay.
Yeah, grade 8, grade 9. I was like, okay, cool. I really dig this thing. Like, yeah. And at that stage, like, man, I wouldn't even try to be like, yeah, I was writing some dopes. Nah, I was writing rubbish. And it was probably like every rhyme was like chemical formulas. You just try to be as complicated and complex and use all the words people didn't know.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's pretty much when it started. I just knew I loved being creative, man. I used to love music. I always used to, listen to like, hip hop artists and just be like, yo, how did you write that? Yo, Eminem, you're this, you're that. I was a big fan of DMX. I just liked the fact that he was like very personal. And each of his albums, he had that prayer, and it was really deep. I mean, that dude is a manic depressive. It's a shame what happened to him in terms of like just the drugs and all of that. But like, I really resonated with artists who gave a lot more themselves on a personal level. And I think like fast forward to now, that's something I don't know why it took me that long to learn, but like I find that music for me is easier to make when I'm writing from this perspective, as opposed to, okay, this is the sound, it's a DJ Mustard tempo, and the hook needs to be this. Like. That's a lot more calculated. Like I find music comes easier when it's just what state of mind am I in? Am I angry, happy, cool? That's what I put into my music, and it just flows.
It's funny that you say the music is easier when it's not calculated, because as a marketing person, I'd kind of expect you to make singles. I don't know whether rightly or wrongly.
No, like
with that mind. So you're saying you don't have that mind? You just go in the studio and it's just like.
No. I mean, you take a lot of variables into account, man. I mean, you are going, okay, look, what is the current sound? But you don't have to mimic it, word and beat and bar. You know what I mean? You can say, well, look, this is the tempo because you have to bear that in mind. You can't be completely off center, because DJ is going to be like, where do I throw your music in my set? I like your song, but everything right now is 90 to 100 BPM. This is 75. Yeah. I like it, but at 2 a.m. I can't drop this in the club. Yeah. And you need that commercial single, you need that rotation, you need your Rams charts, top 10, whatever the case is. So yeah, you take into account what is currently trending, but also you can manipulate it and do it in a way that it's yours and it's uniquely you. Suga didn't sound like anything that was out at the time, but it was within tempo. Hammer, when I dropped that, trap was the sound, but it was and I'll say it was a cut above, man. It was just like, yo, and it was an angry song, and like people picked that up, and the video was very controversial. They were like, why do you have black eyes? Like, yo, people at my church were like, hey, hey, hey.
Your dad was like, ish.
Yeah, my mom's apart. But I was like, yo, look, that was the state of mind I was in. That was where I was, and I was being true to how I felt. And the reason for those eyes was like, I didn't want to wear shades. Shades are like, oh yeah, I'm cool swag. I wasn't cool swag. I was pissed off. And like, when I had those lenses in my eyes, it's like, it blocks off all emotion. You're deadpan. So you're more likely to pay attention to what I'm saying if you're looking at me, as opposed to me looking cool. So it wasn't even to try to purposely be controversial. That was really the thought process behind it. I'm not somebody who just does anything willy-nilly. Like, there's a reason for it. 20 gold chains was not about 20 gold chains. People are like, why didn't you have lots? Because it wasn't. The whole expression was, if I walk into a room with 20 gold chains on, you see somebody, like, you would notice who they are and be like, who is that guy? I need to holler at that person. And I was like, my music, anything I do, anything associated with me is on that level that you'll notice me like you would if a person walked in a room with 20 gold chains. So it's that sort of stuff that sometimes goes
over people,
and you have to explain it. People take things at face value, but sometimes that simplicity is also important, because people don't want to be calculated or think that far. So like I said, you don't just get into studio and be like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. You take various factors into it, but like I said, I've just found the more authentic you come through in your music, even if it's on a trap song, you can find ways of doing it that are still uniquely you. You're not selling out to what the sound and trend is. Yeah.
Okay, so you described your sort of thought process, and we can tell that you're the sort of guy that thinks about things. You're a driven guy.
Yeah.
So while we were doing our research, and obviously we talked to the streets, and they said, just to double back a little bit.
It's gonna be curious, and sorry to cut you off. You know why I'm laughing is because people don't say stuff to me. People speak vicariously through like my DJ and stuff, and they'd be like, "Hey, yo, Blayze," and then I'm like, "But like," and even when people see me, and that's why I was like, "Oh, me having slimmed down is better," because people wouldn't approach me. It's just like, he looks like he's pissed off, and I'm like, "Yo, it's Sunday, dude. I was in church 2 hours ago. How am I gonna be mad? I'm chilled. Like, if you want to pick, ask for the pick." Sorry, you were saying.
No, I was just saying that you did mention going into the corporate world. I don't know how true this story is, so you can correct this, but the story goes that you actually got a promotion, and then you kind of sat back and said, am I doing this is my heart into this? I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe elaborate as to that jump to the music industry.
Basically, what happened was, after I got my degree, I was like, I want to go overseas to the UK for like a year and just go and travel. That was the plan. And then there was a director. He's actually the gaming director of Sun International. He headhunted me and he was like, look, recruited me for what they call their graduate management program. And it was like a fast tracking program where you'd spend time in every aspect of the business, learn and understand, and then, go into your field specifically, but having like a holistic view of what the business is. So I did that. And then after that, I was acting marketing database manager at the unit that I trained at. And then I got promoted to marketing database manager at Carnival City. And I was the youngest marketing database manager in the history of the company. So like I worked hard, man. Like, I really, really worked hard. I didn't slack. Like, I didn't care how many hours it took. If somebody was like, nah, it's not worth it, or nah, you won't get it. I was like, cool, I'll prove you wrong. And I just found that like, I'd done really well over a short period of time in doing that, but I was like, I'm not actually passionate about this. I'm doing it because it's a challenge, and I'm like, cool, say I can't. Or tell me it takes a month. I'll do it in 2 weeks, in a couple of days, and I'll prove you wrong. You know what I mean? So, and then I was like, if I can do this and get this far, just like just because it's a challenge, what would I be able to do if I was doing something I was actually passionate about? Where that 16-hour day doesn't feel like 16 hours because you're doing what you enjoy. So 6 months, less than 6 months into my promotion, I was like, to whom it may concern, I did a king. So I walked into my general manager's office. He was my mentor for the time that I was training, and he was the general manager at the casino I was working at. He actually passed away last year from cancer. But anyway, so I walked into his office and I gave him the letter, and he was like, whoa, what is this? But he understood where I was coming from, and he was like, look, do what you need to do. If you're going to come back, then come back. You've always got a place here. And like, as well, I had built a reputation and I had made sure that I was above board. If I said I was going to do something, I did it. Like, my father instilled that to me. He's like, yo, be a man of your word. Make sure that even if somebody likes you or doesn't like you, they can't question the quality of your work. Be like, yeah, I don't like him. I don't like his hairstyle and those black eyes, whatever the case is. But when it comes to my work, find my fault.
Yeah.
You know, make sure that you do the most. So, yeah, he got where I was coming from, and then I walked away from that and walked into this industry blind. Never studied music. I never picked up a music book in my life. Never studied how to play keys or software, or I was just like, I'll figure it out. I taught myself, got my own software, loaded it onto my computer, play by ear. Okay, cool, yo, this is what, and that's instinctively where it came from. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't take the time to learn or formally add to your knowledge in terms of music or whatever the case is. You should invest in yourself, learn as much as you can. But at the same time, one thing that I found that was an advantage for me, one, I had a corporate background, so I had a very functional process strategy, and in the creative industry, like that is not that it's not there, but it's not a priority. It's more the creative and the idea and the cool stuff, but the actual saying, yo, the contract, the bank statements, did you register, that sort of stuff, I had a strength in terms of that, and I used that to my full advantage. But then also, not having studied music and all of that, I wasn't bound to certain things. Like, there's times I'll sit with my engineer and we're mixing a song, and he's like, no, but those chords and the progression, and I'm like, no, tell me about the chord progression. How does it make you feel? And that's what I go off of. It's raw, it's uncut, and I'm going, man, I just really like those keys, and I'm chesty when I play it this way, and this makes me happy. And that's what music is. It's about playing off emotions, either good or bad. Why do you listen to Adele when you want to be chesty? Why do you listen to Turn Up when you want to go out? Or you feeling good? Or you feeling pissed off? Because that music does something to you. And I just found my lack of knowledge was compensated for by just raw emotion to say, this is just the type of song it is, and this is how it makes me feel. When I play it to other people, it makes them feel that way too. So that's pretty dope. I don't know I didn't know what chord progression and all that structure. It was just like, oh, major fifths and your finger. Man, this is a dope song. Tell me about major fifths, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was instinctively just where it came from, and I just pushed from there.